Hey, good morning. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman, and it's time for another daily dose of Hort. Well, today is part 2 of how an EarthBox setup operates and such. Yesterday we looked at all the parts and pieces. Today what I wanted to do is go ahead and fill it with mix, and the mix, there's really no particular brand to use for that. Any good professional potting mix will work. You don't want to put soil, you don't want to put compost in this system because look, it's just a big kind of rectangular container, okay? So what we're going to do first here is put some mix in. And I have found through experience that it takes a little bit more than 2 cubic feet to fill this box up. And if you buy it bulk like I do, it's approximately 3 5-gallon buckets is appropriate. And so what I'm going to do here first, when it's heavy, hopefully I don't strain my back even though I'm sitting here, I'm going to put some of this mix in originally like this. And then remember yesterday I talked about these 2 wicking chambers where the mix goes down into the reservoir. The screen maintains an airspace between the mix and the water, so it's not all touching except for the wicking chambers that draw the water up into the media as a sponge. So what we'll do here is I'm just going to push some mix in there, and I'm just going to kind of tamp it in there a little bit. We both got the coughs this morning, like that, and then just spread. Pardon me. Let me go fill this up some more while I cough a little bit, and I'm going to put the other rest of that first 5-gallon bucket in here. Now you probably can tell this is wet. It's always a good idea. I like to moisten the mix before we put it in, and that's the first layer. And I like to do this in layers. While I'm doing this, what I want to do is answer some of the questions we had yesterday, which were pretty good. You know, and several people asked, well, where do you buy an EarthBox? Well, there are some retail garden centers, independent garden centers will carry the EarthBox. I go right to earthbox.com. That's the easiest, and they can ship it right to you, and you can get all the various parts and pieces that that make EarthBox gardening fun. So I've got the second layer of mix in here, or the second 5-gallon bucket, and now one of the things that we need to do in container gardening, which is really a thing that people miss. A container mix tends to be very low in calcium. We don't worry too much about pH, but it's low in calcium. So what I like to do is take 2 cups of dolomitic limestone. If you can't find dolomitic limestone, calcitic limestone works. It's called garden lime. Just never get hydrated lime or fast lime or quick lime. It's not what you want to do. And you put 2 cups in, and I mean, you could get all crazy, and I could get my claw out and mix that all in there. But no, just to kind of mix that up, and doing it this way, when I do end up planting, that dolomite's going to be right in the root zone where those transplants are. So I think it's going to have maximum effect. After we do that, we're going to go ahead, let's put our third 5-gallon bucket in here. And you may say that this seems like a lot of mix. It really isn't, and I'm going to show you why. Other questions that we had yesterday. One dealt with watering frequency. You know, if it's got this reservoir in the bottom, why can I just go on vacation for 2 weeks and not worry about my tomato plants? So, and that happens to you spill it. Well, just because there's a reservoir in the bottom of this container doesn't mean you don't have to water your plants. And the best example I like to give is if you're growing tomato plants on a hot June, July, August day here in Mississippi. The research has shown us that tomato plants will transpire or draw water up through their root system up to 1 gallon a day per plant. So this has a 2-gallon reservoir in it, and if you have 2 tomato plants, on a hot day those 2 tomato plants will empty the reservoir, so you have to water. So you have to water as the plants need them. Obviously some crops use less water, some crops actually use more water. It's kind of an experience thing. So with that third 5-gallon bucket in here, see our mix is kind of up over the top a little bit. I probably could have put some more in here, but we want to go ahead and have this mounded, and I'll show you why and explain why tomorrow. But we try and get this as a kind of like a loaf of bread, okay, kind of with the rounded top. And then for a fertilizer, all you're doing with the fertilizer is making a trench, and the directions you'll get with EarthBox is either 2 cups of anything from 5-5-5 to 15-15-15. I kind of think that that's a little over fertilization, especially because 15-15-15 has 3 times as many nutrients as 5-5-5. I like to grow the plants a little on the lean side because we can always add more fertilizer, and we do at times. But I like to go with, here's a cup, and this is 8-8-8, okay? And I'm going to put it on in a row across the front of the box. Now, you could use different placements of the fertilizer. Sometimes I'll go fertilizer this way if I have 2 tomato plants, 1 on each side. Sometimes I'll put it down the middle like this if I'm growing like kale in lines down each side, so there's fertilizer in the middle. Lately I've gotten it's just easier just to do it all across the front for all of the crops that we grow. So with that ends up part 2 of setting up an EarthBox. If you got questions, shoot them to me after this video is over, and we'll address those online, and I'll address them tomorrow. There's some more questions from yesterday that I'm going to take care of tomorrow because it has to do with water relations within the EarthBox. So with that, I hope you're learning something. I'm glad you joined me today, and I hope to see you tomorrow for another daily dose of Hort.